I've come to Worcester to meet a chap called Ed, who really likes his little French hot hatches. And the car in question, that's just behind here, is actually one of the founding fathers of the hot hatch movement dating back to the 70s. But this particular one is when things got a little bit faster, a little bit more turbocharged, a little bit more 80s. It's just through here. It's not this, it's that. Sometimes on these barn find episodes, I get really dirty and the car is heavily abused and derelict. But in this instance, it's covered up by about 16 different cloths. So I thought I'd show it to you before we even finish the intro. This is, of course, a barn find episode of The Late Break Show, and I'm Jonny Smith. So Ed, I'm really excited about this because this is a very rare car now.
It is, and to be honest, Jonny, I was on the Facebook group.
Yeah.
And a lovely guy, I think his name's John, he has entered the details to this on the register. I think there's 7 left around. I don't know how many are left on the road. I think maybe 2 or 3 that are currently still being driven on the roads in the UK. It is quite limited.
So put people out of their misery.
Yep.
The car in question is?
It is a Renault 5 Gordini Turbo.
Yeah. So in France it was called?
It was called the Alpine in France,
yeah.
And I believe that they could not use the name Alpine in the UK because Chrysler Sunbeam owned the rights to that name. And I believe, again, you have to check this, Jonny.
No, that is true.
You have to check this. But I believe Gordini was a brand that was owned by Renault.
Yes.
And if you go back through the Gordini as their racing brand.
Yep.
And so they released it in the UK as the Renault 5 Gordini Turbo.
Your facts are true.
Okay.
Your facts are true. Gordini was a brand.
Yep.
A racing brand established by an Italian racing dude.
Right.
Was bought in 68, established in 52, bought in 68
right.
by Renault.
Yep.
So Renault took it on. And then, yeah, the original Gordini, the non-turbo, came out in 76.
Yes.
So a really long time ago.
Yep. I had one of those.
Did you?
I had 2 Renault 5 Gordinis. I had the original one, which had the same interior as the very early Mark ones.
Yes.
And then I had a really nice, beautiful silver Renault 5 Gordini in about 1990 for about 2 years, 18 months maybe. And then I went travelling, and in about the early 90s, and so I sold it.
How long has this one, the Turbo, been sat here?
This one has been sat here. This has pretty much been garage since we found out my wife was pregnant with our first child.
Yeah.
And that was in, 2004. And it's been there ever since.
So that's next year, that's 20 years.
Yes, that's 20 years next year. Yeah, my son will be 20 next year. Yeah.
Wow. Well, we're going to continue the conversation because I know there's some great anecdotes, but we have to declutter.
Yeah.
So,
Lots.
But it looks like you've covered it with some cloths.
Yeah, a lot of cloths. Really, just to keep it scratch-free, because obviously this is a usable garage.
Yeah.
And
I can't wait to see it. Where should we start?
So I would start at the front. That lathe is going to be very heavy.
Do you want a hand?
I'm moving house.
You are moving house. The roof is dented from the weight of all your paraphernalia.
But it will pop out. It's not actually creased, which is the important thing.
This year is the 50th anniversary of the Renault 5. 50 years. And remember, next year, they're bringing out a fully electric Renault 5, which looks ace. Ed, I've got to admire your collection of cloths.
There's quite a few. I suppose you would build up quite a few over 20 years.
But it might have held the car in good
Well, let's
stead.
find out. I don't know. Pete, do you want to grab some as well? And let's see how we get on.
This was the first generation of Renault 5 Turbo. This came out in 82. This particular car is an 83. And there are really not very many of them that have survived, certainly in the UK anyway. So that's why I'm really interested to see how this has survived under, I don't know, how many clots have we pulled off? It's got to be double figures. It's got to be double figures. It's been a while since it's been seen.
I would say that's the first time in a long time since actually anything's seen daylight.
Oh, you've got that amazing steering wheel.
It has. I think it's a 3-spoke, isn't it?
Yeah,
and as I said, I've got 2 of them because I have another one from my original Gordini, my very first, which I will show you a picture of later. But my very first Gordini had that, and when we scrapped that car, the steering wheel was so beautiful.
You took it off?
I took it off before it went to heaven.
Yeah.
And I also have a spare front spoiler.
I'm hoping there's not been any mouse action in here,
No.
because you've got some bedding in there, and you've got...
Bedding, as in mouse bedding?
Well,
or...
no, as in like there's...
Oh,
I think there's
pillows. No, cushions. That's probably to hide the trainers.
Yeah, what's going on? There's a load of shoe boxes.
Yeah, that is a... the shoe boxes are... my neighbour Pete and I go running, and I've discovered a pair of training shoes, which I really like. And then I went on to another well-known website and I stockpiled trainers.
Oh, so they're new?
They're brand new. But my wife, so they get hidden in here. So my wife doesn't know about it. I do have a bit of a shoe trainer.
So hang on a minute, you've been using this as a storeroom?
A storeroom, yeah.
For new trainers that you don't
clandestine storeroom for new trainers.
Okay.
Or anything that I buy and I don't want to bring into the house straight away.
Okay. We should counter this by saying that Ed's wife, Sam, is an artist. A very good one.
Yeah, yeah.
And we will promote that over the next 5 seconds. Because we can't really get a good look at it. We want to get it out there onto the into the carport.
Yeah. Tow rope's already attached.
Yes,
so
I'll pump the 2 tyres up that are easily available, and we'll see if we might be able to get 3 or 4 tyres. Will make it a lot easier. This garage, I keep nearly hitting my head on this garage door.
Yep. Yeah, it's designed for people of 5 foot.
I might have to. I might have to wear this helmet just to protect my scalp.
Please do. That helmet is from my father-in-law. He was a racing driver for. His hobby was racing cars.
It's got MSA approved motorsport stickers on it.
Yeah. He raced vintage sports cars for most. His passion was vintage sports cars.
So because obviously that MX-5.
That just turned up one day after my wife and we bought one of these red letter day to go to Birmingham Wheels to do drifting.
Yeah.
And my wife is a fantastic driver. She used to work for Morgan's. She was part of the race team at Morgan's, the pit crew in the day. And we went on a rally course originally, and 25 people turned up, 24 blokes, and my wife.
Yeah.
And she came second. So, which was an amazing achievement. So, a couple of years later, we zoom forward and we go to Birmingham Wheels to do drifting. She's nailed it, absolutely got it sorted. She's brilliant. But the car that they use for drifting is the MX-5. I came home from work one day, genuinely did not know anything about it, and came in, and there's an MX-5 on the drive. And to be honest, it's a fantastic car. Yeah. It is just the best.
They are good.
Yeah, brilliant.
They're really good.
Cheap as chips, and a great fun to drive.
Right, let's get the Gordini out somehow.
Yeah.
I haven't got a manual pump. Well, I have in the car, but I don't need one because Pete next door's got this amazing device. I can feel some stuff falling.
Okay, you haven't got your foot on the brake, have you, mate? Okay,
handbrake's off, isn't it?
Is the handbrake off? Yeah. Okay, definitely out of gear. Let's go.
That is moving.
Go.
Yes.
Okay, a bit more left hand down, mate. Bit more. That's it. Okay, straight up.
straight, that's it. Ready? Keep going.
Okay, go.
Yes! Oh, this is falling down.
Come on!
There we go. To the brakes on, please.
Go. And we're out. Wow. Okay, thanks, Harry.
I know you were saying that you knew the tailgate was rotten before you took it away.
I do know that, and but that was like that. And when we got the car originally, it had black electrical tape around it, so it nicely disguised that. So really, that hasn't got any worse. I wouldn't say. Looking at it,
the car's full of stuff. So let's.
Yep, I'm going to have to get a prop because the pistons or the hydraulic piston is not very good. Now that is not for this car. That was for an old Zara. That was a
So that's a brand new handbrake cable for a car you don't own anymore.
Yeah, but you know, what's the point of throwing it in the bin?
Oh no, that's perfect. Kind of like Gumtree Facebook Marketplace fodder.
Yeah. By the looks of it, it doesn't look like this is in much better condition than the other one. But that has got the reversing lights on it, so
yes, it does.
It's actually better nick than the other one. It is better.
And they're not turbo specific, although
no, not at all. So
just
should we just?
Renault 5,
I've got that. Okay, let me get rid of that.
You all right?
That's my original, very first Renault 5.
Well thumbed.
Yeah,
Goodness
yeah. You can see what was the most obvious problem. Yeah. That was the original one that I had for my very first one in probably the mid-80s. Right, now this is the original bumper from my very first Gordini.
Is it?
Yeah, so...
this will be rare now.
Yeah, I would say so. I have looked on eBay and I think, they are selling. They are definitely, because they're completely universal. So that will fit on any Mark 1 Renault 5.
Yeah.
No problem at all. So you could make your Mark 1 Renault 5 1100 or 950 or 980, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Make it look like a Gordini instantly by putting that on.
That's quite...
But you will need the yellow spots to go in the bottom.
The yellow fogs, they do.
Yeah, you need those. Yeah, so this is the original steering wheel from my very first Gordini, which is exactly the same as that steering wheel.
It is, isn't it? So it's the ISO Delta.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of paint on it. I think it was probably hanging up in the shed. But it will clean up beautifully.
That's lovely.
Yeah, good bit of kit. And I think, here we go, this is probably, we might need these, a set of brand new spark plugs or maybe they are brand new, I don't know.
Well, if they're replacements, then I can always slip some new plugs in because we'll take the plugs out.
But I don't know if you know, there's one plug on this car that's a real nightmare to get to.
Right at the back?
Yeah. And I reckon these cars were only ever had 3 spark plugs changed.
It was one of those, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, 80s mud flaps.
Yeah. There you go.
New old stock. Especially fluted to deflect mud and water back onto the road. No drilling required, just clamp.
Nice.
Amazing.
You can have those if you want, Johnny.
Yeah, I'd love. Thank you.
I'm sure you'll come across
a friend of mine.
I'm sure you'll come across an Allegro.
Yes.
That needs them.
Yes.
Instead of a parcel shelf.
It's a parcel cloth.
Parcel cloth. Yeah. So that would pops in there.
That's it.
And there.
So beautifully utilitarian.
And there.
In that way the French are so good at.
Yeah, so that would be your parcel shelf. And I think under here, spare tyre, but that's the small spare tyre.
Yeah. Oh, you want to see what's under the other side?
What's that?
An immaculate Haynes manual.
Oh, is there?
So that's obviously your heavily used one, but you had a mint one for best.
Oh, right, did I? Okay.
Yeah, mint one for best. Here's the engine bay. I did a few notes last night because I couldn't remember all the specs on this.
Okay.
And obviously you can see it says Alpine Renault, and we talked already about the Gordini name for the UK market. But this engine, the main engine, the 1.4 1397, dates back to I think the 50s.
Right, okay.
In its original state, but this has been lowered in compression because they
Yep.
wanted to turbo it. The layout, though, is bonkers. So you've got the turbo is right there.
Yep.
The carb is right here,
Yep.
really front end of the car. Ancillaries are obviously on the front of the engine, and then the engine's pushed way back.
Yep.
Whereabouts are the struts? Where's the centre? Centre of the wheel's here.
Yeah.
Centre of the wheel is here. So the
Yep.
engine block is miles back, which probably explains why it handles so beautifully. It's
Yeah,
light.
it does. You can throw it. If I remember rightly, you can throw it around a corner.
You should be able to, because these guys had stiffer torsion bar independent
Right,
suspension,
okay.
anti-roll bars.
Yep.
And they had I thought it was 115 horse. It actually had 110,
Right.
but it could do 116 miles an hour.
Yes. I do remember that.
9 seconds to 60.
Yes, I do remember that.
So all of this is, if you're watching this thinking, is this the sort of like the grandpa of the GT Turbo? Yes, it's exactly that. These did not sell in as many numbers. They weren't really as probably iconically known as the later car.
Yep.
But that's what makes these rarer. Right, so let's crack on with some sort of attempt at a resurrection. So the last time you think you drove it was...
I wasn't I'm pretty sure I wasn't the last person to drive it. A friend of mine, Gary Lacroix, I believe, was the last person to drive it.
Okay.
And I let him drive it because he'd never driven one before.
So it wasn't broken when you...
No,
parked it?
not at all.
Okay.
No, it was fine. We as you say, threw it around some corners pretty quick.
Yeah.
And he was a pretty fearless driver, if I remember rightly.
Because what I find interesting about this is you've still got, look, the battery's still hooked up.
Yep.
And it's dated 2001.
Right.
First charge 2001.
Okay. Well,
So obviously that's not going to work anymore.
No.
Before we attempt any kind of turning over of and putting a new fresh battery on it, I'll take the plugs out.
Yep.
Look at those, clean those up.
Yep.
Little bit of oil or lubricating oil down the
Okay.
down the bores.
Yep.
Take off this. The distributor cap is nice and accessible on these.
Yep.
I think the turbo model had electronic ignition.
Which is over
Somewhere over here.
Somewhere
Yeah.
over there. Yep.
Yeah. So there's the core. So we'll clean up any contacts in there.
Yep.
And then once we've done that, I will take off where the fuel feed is. I just assume the fuel and the fuel pump will be a bit old hat and kippered.
Yep.
And that's when we'll go to turn it over with no compression.
So
just
excuse my ignorance here, but where is the fuel feed coming in?
it's different on every car, and because of every engine orientation is slightly different. But you usually can see it coming up
Okay.
through here or through there. But I'll find it. Oh,
Okay,
got a
well-
manual. Got a bloody manual.
I've got 3.
Can you consult one of your 3 manuals while I'm
I
taking
will.
the plugs out?
Okay. Yep.
Thank you. Oh, I need a big kitchen roll as well.
Yep. I can get that sorted for you.
I mean, the access is really good to a lot of stuff.
Yep.
There's a bit of a spaghetti maze of turbo pipe work because the location of the turbo is physically a long way from
Yep.
everything else. But I think that plug there under the bonnet latch
Yep.
is the only slight swine.
That I'm pretty comfortable in the fact that you will struggle to get that out.
Well, I like a challenge,
Okay.
Ed.
There's your
so,
challenge then.
Yes.
Hold on. There are centre pins. So there's an extension rod, which is about that long, that goes on the top. And so there's a metal bar
Yeah.
that sits then onto the top of the plug, and the plug is probably right at the bottom of the engine.
So have you got such
Needle
a thing?
nose pliers. You need needle nose pliers to take that off,
To take those,
to take those off,
Right.
and then,
the suppressors.
well, I don't know, again, the technical name
so
for
what,
that.
and then that will fit with it.
And then, once you've got that bar off, then right at the bottom of the engine, that should go all the way down, and you know this nipple that is on the top,
yeah.
that's what you remove from the spark plug, and then so that is not even doing anything.
No, it's not. No.
So I'll go and get some
Okay.
needle nose pliers, and then we should be able to get that bit off.
What an absolute bastard.
Yeah,
You need a magnet.
yeah,
You sure that?
no, that.
Do you want to use this because this locks on?
Okay, yeah, I think you'll find that
Don't want to damage it. That's ludicrous.
yeah,
What's going on here? I've never seen this in my life.
you haven't seen a Renault 5 Gordini Turbo.
Well, I've never worked on a 5 Gordini Turbo. So while I'm doing this, could you tell me how you came to buy this car?
Well, I didn't buy it myself. Obviously, my wife. When I met my wife, we both had a passion for French cars.
Yeah.
And I always talked about my passion for French cars. And then around that time, I was made redundant. I decided at that time in my life that I wanted to be a teacher.
Yeah.
And so I went back to university.
Yeah.
And I went to my graduation in 2003.
Yeah.
And I came home from the graduation after having a graduation reception with my dad, my mum, my wife's parents, and my grandmother. And we got back to our house, and she said, "Oh, I don't know where to park." And I said to her, "Well, why don't you just park there?" And I said, "Oh, you can park right next to that Renault 5." And it was this car. And I said, "Bloody hell, it's a Renault 5 Gordini Turbo." And she went, "Oh, right." Anyway, we walked to the front door, and I said, "I haven't got the keys for the front door." And she pulled out a set of keys and said, "Are these the keys you're looking for?" And I went, and it had a little Renault logo on. I think it's still the same logo on there. And I said, "Well, it's a Renault 5, because you instantly recognise a Renault 5's keys."
Yeah.
And she held them out to me, and I went, "Oh my God." She went, "It's your car. It's yours. I bought it for you."
So it was your graduation.
It was a graduation present from my wife. At that moment, I got a little emotional. I had a little bit of a crumble, a bit of a cry, because I was just like, "Oh my God, it's my dream car, my absolute dream car." And she gave it to me, and then I went for a drive.
It's been so long since I've sat in a Renault 5. Probably you too.
Yep, I would say so.
Is it all coming back?
Exactly. The simplicity of it,
Yeah.
the size of it.
Yeah.
Not too many buttons and dials. Well, there are lots of dials, but not. Yeah,
A little stubby.
Yeah,
stubby
it's just
stalk.
simple. So it really is simple.
The seats are so comfortable.
Yeah, they are.
They are so
Yeah,
quilty.
and they do. All of these seats will fit any Renault 5 and any Renault 4. Yeah.
So turbo. It says it on the gear knob.
Yeah,
Turbo.
don't know if that's the original gear knob.
No, I don't.
I think it's a 5-speed. So
Yeah.
I think that may be a later edition. I don't know. This is all exactly the same in all the Renault 5s.
Yeah, I forgot about the little.
Yep.
It's a vertically
Yeah.
positioned head unit for
Yeah.
the stereo. You've just got that perched on the dashboard.
Yeah. I think that is the original sales brochure for this car.
Oh, here we go. 5 Gordini.
Yeah.
So the digital clock above your head, the Veglia one.
Yep.
All the Jaeger gauges.
Yeah, that should switch on, hopefully.
Look at that. It's displaying the boot space as having a helmet and 2 suitcases. Mm-hmm. Of course. I love this engine, I love this car. I have great respect for it being one of the original hot hatches in non-turbo form anyway. And obviously it handles really well because it's light, independent suspension, and the engine is way back here. But it means getting spark plugs out takes days. Or the last plug anyway. Or these stupid things. What are these?
That's not going.
I have never seen these. I'm not a mechanic. I'm not a professional mechanic by any means, but I've never seen these spark plug.
That's not going.
No? Okay, I'll carry on with the pliers. Go and make a cup of tea. Right, we can't get the last plug out. We don't really have the time and we don't really have the correct tools with us. But I only take these out so that we can turn the engine over with less compression. And I'm going to put in the 3 existing bores, I'm just going to put a bit of oil down in case it hasn't been turned over for a long time and it's a bit dry. While I'm resting, trying to fathom out this engine, we sell merch. We sell Late Brake Show merch and also Car Pervert merch. Go and get yours now. Only if you want to. Don't feel forced. There's a link in the description. Ed's found this relic in his garage, obviously from the days of daily driving Renaults. So we're going to see if, I don't know if you can see how inaccessible this is, but it is.
How are you going to turn it?
Right, so we've connected up the jump leads. All bar one plug is out. Are you getting like digital clock or anything?
I did. Yeah, I've got digital clock. Yeah. What do you want me to do? Just turn it over.
Try and turn it over, yeah.
Ready?
Yeah. Oh, we've got the mother of all sparks because I left the spark plug. I left a spark plug in that.
Okay.
So we've got a really strong ignition spark.
Okay, I've got.
And it's obviously turning over nicely.
And I've got no ignition lights.
Got no ignition lights on the dash.
No.
Interesting. But we've got a spark, so actually, in the nicest possible way.
Let me just try the lights.
Yeah. You got side lights? Yeah. Yeah, you got good headlights.
I've got.
Good try indicators.
Yeah, they're on.
Yes. Yes. I'm convinced. We'll put the plugs in.
Yep.
And then I will attach the can of hope onto that union.
Yep. And then we'll fire the baby, fire it up.
What I'll do is I'll probably just lube the throttle linkage and the choke linkage. Did it feel really tight, the choke on it?
No, the choke was fine.
Okay, the moment of truth. We've introduced the can of hope as our standalone fuel reservoir onto the side of the carb, the Weber carb here. Still a mad layout for an engine bay. I'm still getting my head used to it. I'm going to prime this. You can hear that. I'll start introducing a bit of fuel and hopefully it won't fly out the wrong ends. And if you want to, Ed,
yep.
If I were you, I would get in there and I would start turning it over and see what happens. Will the Gordini Turbo run? Well, it's throwing a load of fuel out.
Ready?
Of the original fuel pump.
Okay, ready?
No, okay. We've got a lot of fuel. The fuel pump, the original fuel pump, it was throwing fuel out into a bottle.
Yeah.
So the original fuel pump works.
Okay.
Which was a surprise because normally they're knackered after sitting for so long.
So do we need to get that out or?
Yeah, I'm just gonna
whip that off.
I'm gonna whip that off, and I'm gonna I might put a bit of fuel down its throat.
Okay.
Because sometimes it just helps to get it to kick.
Ready?
Yeah. Right, bit of. Right. It's not even stumbling. I think we flooded it.
Okay.
We've got a combination of a dodgy key or ignition barrel, which I think is it's damaged, and the fact that I think initially I hadn't twigged that the can of hope was just gravity feeding it with petrol, and I think it just threw petrol in, which is why I've taken this top off to check the throats of the Weber carb. And I don't want to put more fuel in with the can of hope yet, because I can't tell if I flooded it.
And I can't get the key out.
The problem we have is, normally you could just take the plugs out and if they're wet with fuel, dry them, put them back in. Easy on a lot of cars. This Alpine / Gordini engine, the plugs are so difficult to get out and in. Everybody, fingers crossed. We've dried 2 of the 4 plugs. The other 2 are a bastard. Oh.
Smoking again, isn't it?
Damn you! Oh. I think it's plug wetness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it stumbled then. That's the closest we've got today.
Should probably go in the morning.
Yeah.
Start.
Yeah, you boys, what is it, Sunday tomorrow?
Yeah.
Right, so you come round here with a cup of coffee, say good morning.
Yeah.
Get a good battery out. Need a really good battery.
Yeah. But that was hopeful.
That was hopeful.
Yeah.
I think with the plugs dry and just a little cup of fresh fuel down its throat and nothing more, you should get a strong stumble like that.
Okay.
If it was really easy to take all 4 plugs out, we'd do that now, but we have run out of time today. But the boys have promised to persist, so we might if this car does run before the video goes live on YouTube, we'll put a clip in of it successfully running. But anyway, hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Late Break Show. The Barnfind Fleece reeks. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Oh, and if you know of a car of interest for an episode like this that's in a garage, in a real barn, in a hedge, on a drive, you can contact us. There's an email address below. Send us some pictures and a description of the car, and we may be in touch. Thank you.
Okay, so Johnny, after you left and we hadn't got it going, I found this spanner type thing in amongst all my tools. Now, if we put the extension rod onto the spark plug, like so, do it nice and tight, this will slot into that. Then if I get this size socket, that will slot onto there, and then with a regular ratchet, that will slot into there, and the whole thing can be done up. Going to give it a go, and then I'll get back to you to see if it's successful. See if this goes. It's got a Land Rover on it. We did it! We got it going!